Hello, friends. Welcome again. This is the session 5 in the SQL playlist. And in this session, we will talk about what is a foreign key constraint. Foreign key constraint. I won't give you any definition at this moment. And we will try to build a scenario through which I will explain it first and then I will give the definition. So let's quickly start with it. So let me take a scenario that I am a edtech company and a lot of students do register for my big data course. As you know that I have a edtech company named Trendytech and a lot of candidates register for my course. So consider we have to create a table for that and I want a students table with these all columns. What are these columns? Let's quickly see. I want a unique student ID like a roll number. I want to capture student first name, last name, and middle name. I want to capture student email, that is the email address of the student. I want to capture student phone number, alternative phone number on which, let's say, WhatsApp is available, something like that. Enrollment date, that means, let's say, if someone is enrolling today, then today is the enrollment date. Might be they are joining for a future batch, but when they have enrolled, right? So today is, let's say, 25th January. So 25th January would be the enrollment date. And they might take my batch which is on 5th Feb. That's okay. Now also we capture years of experience. For example, if someone is joining my course, we ask them how much experience do they have, like 8 years, 9 years, 12 years. This helps us to do some analysis that okay, what's the average experience of the people who join our course, something like that. And then we also ask for company name in which they are working, but this is we do not keep it mandatory because some people might not find it right to tell. And why we ask is because, let's say, if there are any drives in those companies and all, we can contact these people. Now apart from that, we do ask for the batch date, that for which batch they want to join. Let's say if someone is enrolling today and they want to join for 5th Feb batch, right? So enrollment date is today, batch date is 5th Feb. Source of joining. We just ask them, okay, through which source you got get to know about us. For example, is it LinkedIn or YouTube or Google, something like that. So that we understand that how exactly candidates are getting to know about us. And then of course we ask from which location they are. Okay. So I want to create a table based on these columns. So let me quickly take this and try to create a table. So create table student ID. Let me see if recording is happening. Yeah. So create table and then uh, what name I have to give? Let's say students. And then I can start creating this definition. How do I create student ID? What would be the data type for this? This would be int. Do we have to manually enter this? Because I understand that this will be unique or like a primary key. So it's better if we can give like a auto increment, so that we do not have to manually give this. Okay. Student F name. First name would be of course varchar, and I would say let's say 30 characters, even though 30 might not be required, but let's give it. And I'm saying this should not be null. The first name of course cannot be null. Not null. We are using a not null constraint. Last name again should be the same way, should not be null. How about this middle name? This, of course, we do not have to put this constraint of not null because some people do not have this middle name. For example, my name is Sumit Mittal. I do not have a middle name. Student email. Of course, this should be again string type varchar and should not be null. Phone number. You might think this is integer, but see this way, that would you ever add two phone numbers? Add in the sense do a sum operation on that? No. You do not have to treat it like a numeric value. So it still can be a string for you. So varchar 30 of not null, because this should also not be null in any case. Alternative phone number. We can just give varchar of 30. This can be of course null. Not every person will have that. Okay. Now after that, enrollment date. And this even phone number. Do we require 30 characters? No. Probably 15 is good enough. Enrollment date. Now enrollment date. Here we require timestamp data type. Timestamp is current date and time. So whenever this record is going, it will take that time, whatever it is. So I would use timestamp data type. So this is beyond the two data types we have talked about. What two data types we have talked? We have talked about integer, that is int, and we have talked about string, which is varchar. Now timestamp is one more important or also an important data type which is used. Now again, enrollment date should not be null. Years of experience. Of course, this will be integer, like 3 years experience, 5 years, 10 years, like that. Okay, and this should also not be null. Student company. Of course, we cannot force a student to fill that. This will be varchar of, let's say, 30. And of course, this can be null because we are not forcing someone to fill this. Batch date. Batch date, again varchar 30, but should not be null. Batch date would be something like, I would say, uh, like 5th Feb batch, 5th Feb 2021 batch, something like that. We'll see. Now, source of joining, that how does this student get to know about us? This will again be varchar 30 and not null. Okay, source of joining. Now, location. Location would be again varchar 30 and should not be null. So quite straightforward. We are doing this and this is it. We have created this definition. Now what I would do is I will go to my IDE and first of all I will drop database Trendytech. I want to start fresh. Okay. Create database Trendytech. I have created now. Let me create this table. First, I will say use Trendytech so that I want to ensure I am connected to this database. And now to clear the screen, I have to say Control L, Control plus L key. Now I would paste this definition. Okay, looks like I have not pasted the entire thing, or copied the entire thing, sorry. And let me copy and paste. It says incorrect table definition. There can be only one auto column and it must be defined as a key. Let's see what we have done. Okay, of course. So whenever we are doing this auto increment, we have to give it as a primary key. In this table, what we want to be as the primary key? Primary, or I can just mention it like this, primary key. And then which column do I want as the primary key? Student ID. Okay. And also this email address, I do not want duplication in that. So we can have it as the unique key. How to do? Unique key. and then I should say student email. Now let me take this and run. You can see this. This has worked. Now I can say describe DESC students, and you can see the structure of the table. We have one primary key which is student ID, we have one unique key which is student email, all the data types are shown, whether the column is nullable or not nullable it is shown, right? And student ID, as you know, is auto increment, and this timestamp column, that enrollment date, if we do not give anything, it will take the current timestamp. It will take the current timestamp. That means whatever time it is right now, along with the date, it will enter that. I hope this is clear. We'll see it practically. Do not worry if you cannot understand at this moment. Let me clear the screen and go back. Now, what we will try to do is we will try to enter some seed data. Generally, we use this word seed data to talk about initial insert statements that we make as a whole in a bulk, right? So we say this data is seed data generally. I do not know the official definition of seed data, but generally you will find this term used a lot, that this is seed data. That means initially when you insert something in table in one go. Okay. So I have this insert statements with me because it will take a lot of time to type it. That's why I have this notepad. Let's understand. Insert into students, and I'm not giving the first column here. I'm not saying student ID because automatically it will take it, right? It will start from 1 and it will keep on incrementing that. Also, I'm not entering enrollment date because if I do not give this, it will take the current date and time. So that's also okay. So you can see student first name, last name, email, phone, years of experience, company, batch date, source of joining and location. And then I am giving values. And since I am fond of cricket, I have used the name of cricket famous cricket players. For example, Rohit Sharma, right? Rohit Sharma won't be joining my big data course, but still, I mean, that's an example for you. So, Rohit Sharma, his email ID is rohit@gmail.com. His phone number is this, some random number. And then, apart from that, uh, he has 6 years of experience. He is working in Walmart, and he has registered for 5th Feb 2021 batch because my next big data batch is on 5th Feb 2020. So basically it should be 22, but in this case let it be. Okay, so sometimes we do not get used to the new year, right? So that's how it is. And Rohit Sharma got to know about my training through LinkedIn, through his connections, and he stays in Bangalore. Similarly, we have other records also. Another one is Virat Kohli, Shikhar Dhawan, and then apart from that, Rahul Dravid. And again, we are also talking about multiple inserts. I mean, single insert with multiple insert values. So this is there. I would not talk much about insert because this is quite self-explanatory. Let me quickly run this. First of all, this three inserts. And now let me even run this multi-insert. I think semicolon I have to give towards the end. Okay. I have run all these inserts. I have not done anything so special. Let me try to do a select star on this table. Select star from students. Oops. Since we have a lot of records, right? So that's why, I mean, the columns are overlapping. That means it's not able to fit in one row. So to see it properly on this terminal, we will use this select statement where we are not like pulling out one or two column. We are skipping, for example, the phone number. What analysis can we do on phone number, right? I'm skipping that. You can see this. So only why I'm not doing select star and selecting only certain columns, so that it can fit in one screen. That's the simple thing, because I want to demonstrate it cleanly. So you can see student ID is auto generated, right? Enrollment date. This is something what is current timestamp. Right now, if you see here, it is 6/7, 25th January. Now it is 25th January, but you see time is not 6/7. Why? Because we are talking about UST time. UST time. What is the current UST time? 12:38. And what have we got here? Almost same. So basically, we are referring to the UST time. We are like few hours ahead of that, 5.5 hours ahead of that, right? So we are talking about UST time here. Student name, email, years of experience, company name, batch date for which they have joined, how did they get to know about Trendytech, and location from which they have joined. All of this. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now let me clear the screen. All this structure is good when we have one single course of big data. But what if tomorrow I want to start some new courses, let's say data science, DevOps, web development, and things like that? Then, of course, things will change slightly. Let us see. So, what will happen in that case is, in that case, you will have one more table called as courses table, the course table. And that course table can have some columns like, let's say, course ID, course name, it can be course duration, and let's say course duration is in months, course duration in months, course fee, and there can be many other columns, but let's limit it to this. So these are the things that will be there in courses table when we have multiple courses. How to create a table? Create table courses, okay, and then we do this. Now among this, first of all, course ID, what data type will it be? It will be integer type, not null. Course name, what data type? Varchar, let's say 30, uh, not null. It cannot be null, of course. I forgot comma here. Okay. Course duration, of course this will be an integer because it's in months, integer and not null. And course fee again will be integer and not null. Among this, what will be the primary key? Course ID is something which will be unique, right? So we can keep it as the primary key. We can say primary key course ID. This is what we can do. And we have this courses table which we can create now. Done. I have created a courses table. Now in this courses table, let us insert some seed data. So I want to insert that, okay, there is something called as course ID 1 and the course name is big data, and duration of this course is 6 months, and let's say the fees is 50,000. Insert into courses values 2 web development, and the course duration is 3 months, the price is 20,000. Data science course 6 months course, 40,000 fee. DevOps course 1 month course, 10,000 fee. Randomly I have put in. Right now I do not have any of these courses apart from big data, but let's say tomorrow if Trendytech scales up and creates these courses, then this can be one table structure, simple table structure. Now let me first put it here and then try inserting this. Done. Okay, and I cannot repeat this one again because it's a primary key. I hope you can understand this. Now, what if someone is enrolling as a student? I mean, we should ask, right, for which course they have enrolled. That should be there now. So this definition of students table will slightly change. Let us see that now. So what we will do is we will drop the students table, drop table students, and we have to recreate it. Let me copy this definition, and then we will just add one more column. What will be that column? Just think of it. Selected course, right? Selected course, you can keep it anywhere. Let's say I'm keeping it here. Selected course. That means for which course they are opting. And I mean, course ID is of course integer, right? We had course ID 1 for big data course, if you can recall. So selected course, which is integer type, and of course it should not be null, not null, not null. And let's say big data is one of the famous course. Other courses hardly people register. Most of the candidates enroll for big data. Then we can keep it as a default, this thing. That means default value can be 1. 1 is for big data. That means if I am not entering any value for selected course, that means by default it means that candidate has registered for big data course. Makes sense, right? Okay. So let me drop the students table, and then let me create the students table with the new format. Slightly the syntax has changed. The structure has changed. Nothing much. So we have created the new table now. Okay. Next what? We should again insert the seed data for this, and this insert statements will be slightly different than the previous ones because this insert statements would have one more column called as selected course. If it has it, then manually whatever we are entering, that value will go. If we do not give it, by default 1 will go, right? So I do not want to type all of that, so I have this insert statements ready. So for example, here we say that this candidate has enrolled for course ID 2. What is this course ID 2? Web development. This candidate has enrolled for big data course only because we have not given. By default it is 1, right? And so on. So I have certain records. Let me quickly insert. First, let me do all of this. Clear the screen and let me do this multi-insert. Okay. And I will say, I will do a select star now. Instead of select star, I am doing selecting some columns. Only reason is because if I do a select star, it won't fit in one screen. You can see this. All of this, that selected course is 2, 1, 3. That means wherever you see 1, these people are for big data. Wherever you see 2, that is for web development, and so on. I hope this is clear. Now, you are selling 4 courses: big data, web development, DevOps, and data science. What if someone mentions 5 here? In the sense, this record, if you see, here I am saying I want to enter course ID as 5. Is course ID 5 there? I mean, do you offer such course which has course ID as 5? No. Now what will happen if I enter this record? Will it go or not? Will we be able to enter this or not? I am saying this person, Jasprit Bumrah, right, one of the best fast bowlers, he is opting for a course whose ID is 5. We are not selling such course. We do not have any course with course ID 5. What will happen if you insert this? Nothing. It gets inserted. Do you feel this is right? No. Because this is not right. How can someone join for a course which is not available only? But system is taking it. How do system know about it? That is where the role of foreign key constraint come into play. I will explain that, but I hope you get to know what is the problem statement. Right? If I say select star from courses, oops, this courses should be lowercase. We offer four courses, course ID 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Jasprit Bumrah joined a course with course ID 5. How is that possible? Right? But system has taken the details. If I show you a select star on the students, you will be able to see that. Okay. If you see here, selected course, let me just do a control. Now you can see. Jasprit has joined for course ID 5. And this is there in the system now. But we know somewhere we have gone wrong. So we will try to correct it using foreign key constraint. Okay. I have to again do Control L to clear the screen just so that you can see everything on one screen. Fine. So let me go back to my actual notepad. I hope you understood what I am trying to convey. That what is the issue. Just have a look at this create table statement. Okay. Now, just to clean all of this, we have to drop this students table. Drop table students. Why we have to drop? Because we know somewhere we have gone wrong and we have to redo it. Let me first drop it. And let's think what we have to do. I will again copy this definition, put it here, and then now time to investigate that what we have to do. Now you know that this selected course, this selected course column is something which we want to check whether it is a valid course ID or not. If it is in course ID, then it is fine, otherwise not. That means we have to put a constraint on this selected course. How to do that? We will see. We can say foreign key, foreign key. Okay. And then I will say selected course. I will explain you this. Do not worry. Foreign key selected course, and to which table we want to check, or in which table we have to first of all say references. That means it has to refer somewhere. References, which table it has to refer? Courses table. And in courses table, which column it has to see? Course ID. That means we are saying that this selected course is dependent on courses table course ID column. Right? That means we should refer courses table course ID column to see whether it's a valid one or not. If it is not there, then you will not be able to insert it only. Right? So in this case, which one is the parent table? Parent table will be your courses table because we have a dependency on that. And which is the child table? Students table. This is a dependent table. If something, or if a course ID is not there in courses table, then of course you won't be able to insert a record in students table. So I would say the parent table is which one? Courses. Child table is what? Students. Right? So the dependency is on courses table. Now let me take this and run this. Done. Let me say describe students. What do you see now? On this selected course, you have some constraint which you can identify that something is there now. That's fine. Now, what I will do is I will try inserting the records again. Let me go here and take the same insert statements, whatever I did. First of all, let me do all of this, and then let me take the multiple insert ones. All of this is fine. Okay. Everything is inserted fine because nothing was wrong. We tried to insert students who have joined either course ID 1, 2, 3, or 4. But the moment we try to insert this record, Jasprit's record, who is selecting for course ID 5, we will get an error. Let me show you that. What does it say? Cannot add or update a child row. A foreign key constraint fails, right? And then it is giving more details about it. This is where we are ensuring that data is valid. We do not end up entering invalid records because it does not make sense that a candidate is joining course 5 when course 5 is not even sold, right? So I hope with this you should have got a clear cut understanding. You will be able to enter records only when course ID is among 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you have more courses, then of course in students table you will be able to enter those also. Just have a look of what I have mentioned and also see the table definition. This one. Now, what I will try to do is, first of all, I will say select. Let me reduce the size of it. Select star, not star. If I do a star, it won't again be proper. I have to select the columns only. Okay. Reducing the size. Only reason is so that it can fit on screen. Now also it has not fitted in. Now, now if you see, there are people who have opted for, I think in this one we do not have this course ID. So we have to add course ID also. That will be a different select. Let me quickly check that. Okay. If you see selected course 2, 1, 3, right? That means some people have opted for course ID 1, big data. Some people have opted for course ID 2, which is web development. And some people have opted for course ID 3, which is data science, right? No one has opted for course ID 4. 4 is not opted till now. Now with this, I want to show you some important things. What if I want to say that I want to discontinue the course ID 2? That means I want to discontinue my uh, web development course because the one who was teaching web development is not, is going somewhere. The trainer who was teaching web development is saying that I won't be able to teach and please discontinue this course. Then what I'm trying to do, select star from, not sorry, delete from courses, delete from courses. This ID sometimes behave weird. Just a second. Delete from courses where course ID equal to 2. What will happen now? Do you feel it will work? Do you feel this will work at this moment? Just think of it. Is there anyone who is enrolled for course ID 2 in the students table? Yes. Then if we are able to delete it successfully, then don't you feel that record will become invalidated, right? That will become bad data. That is why this will give you an error, and this basically is a violation of foreign key constraint again. Since there is a record or there is a student who has opted for course id 2, what if I do the same for course id 4? Right now there is no one in our students table who has opted for this DevOps course. So it won't give any issues and we are able to delete this. So I hope you would have got a fair enough idea of what I am trying to say. So I took such a big scenario in order to explain you that how exactly a foreign key constraint works. Now let's talk about bookish definition. I have given you a practical overview. Let's talk about a bookish definition or a more theoretical way of saying it. The foreign key constraint, I'll write it. The foreign key constraint is used to prevent actions that would destroy links between two tables. Of course, you have seen this practically. I do not have to again tell that how it happens, right? So foreign key is a field. A foreign key is a field. A foreign key is a field in one table. That refers to the primary key in another table. Right? It's a field in one table which refers to a primary key in another table. In this case, whatever we have seen, what was the primary key in courses table? Course ID. And what was the foreign key in students table? It is selected course. So the course that a student is selecting, the selected course is a foreign key which refers to the primary key course ID in courses table. So I would say selected course is a foreign key in students table which refers to course ID, which is nothing but a primary key in courses table. I hope this is fine. The table with foreign key is called the child table and the table with primary key is called the parent table. The table with the foreign key is called the child table. The table with primary key is called the parent, or even sometimes we say reference table. Parent or referenced table. Okay, so with this we understood that what is a foreign key constraint. We have talked about other constraints also earlier. If you can recall, we talked about not null, constraint, we talked about unique key constraint, we talked about primary key constraint, we talked about foreign key constraint. Foreign key, primary key, unique key. Okay, this all we have talked about. So what do I mean by constraint? Why am I using this word constraint? See, basically constraint means we are defining some rules. Only based on that data should go. If the rule is not satisfied, data should not go in a table. Right? So basically constraints are used to limit the type of data that can go into a table. We have seen that practically with any of this. For example, if a primary key is violated, we won't be able to enter the data. Similarly with foreign key, similarly with unique key, similarly with not null constraints and things like that. Okay, so what's the benefit of this? This ensures the accuracy and reliability of the data is maintained in the table. If there is any violation between the constraint, then the action is aborted. If there is any violation, right, then the action is aborted. So this is what we have seen. In other databases other than MySQL, there is something called as a check constraint also. Check constraint. Check constraint. What is this constraint? Just to let you know, first of all, it does not work or it's not supported in MySQL. Not supported in MySQL, right? There might be some variants in MySQL where it can be supported also, but with the one that we are using, it's not supported. And check constraint is something like we can say that okay, if there is a age column in students table, the age should not be more than let's say 50, right? Or if there is a employee table, we can say the age cannot be more than 150, because we know ideally based on how things are, a person cannot live more than 150 years on a idle note, right? So that's why we put a constraint that okay, if someone enters more value, then we do not have to take it, right? So it's like a check constraint. That means whenever we are entering some values, it will try to check whether it is less than 150 or not. If it is less than 150, it will accept. Otherwise, it will say the check constraint is violated. Things like that. But it's not supported in MySQL. That's why I have not demonstrated, but quite easy to understand. So with this, we understood what is a foreign key constraint, and we have covered almost all the constraints which are supported. With this, let's wind up the session, and I hope you liked it. Thanks a lot.